It was a fog-drenched evening in the forgotten town of Eldergrove, when Arthur Kane, a literature professor and part-time antiquarian, received an anonymous letter. The envelope was old, yellowed, and sealed with dark red wax. Inside was a note that simply read, "Come to the Eldergrove Library, midnight. Knowledge awaits, but beware the pages bite." Arthur, an insatiable seeker of rare texts and occult volumes, was intrigued. The Eldergrove Library had been closed for nearly 50 years, rumoured to have burned down after a tragic accident. The town's older residents refused to speak of it, and no official records detailed what had happened. Only whispers remained. At 11:45 p.m., under a pale crescent moon, Arthur arrived at the wrought iron gates of the library. The building stood tall and defiant against the decay of time. Vines wrapped around its Gothic architecture like skeletal fingers, and the air carried the thick scent of dust, rot, and forgotten memories. Oddly, the massive doors creaked open. Without resistance, inside, the darkness was alive. Shelves stood like silent sentinels, holding thousands of books cloaked in shadow. As Arthur stepped in, the door slammed shut behind him. He turned to open it again, but there was no hand. Stone. It was as if the door had never existed. A faint whisper echoed through the silence. It wasn't a voice, but a rustling sound, like pages turning themselves. Arthur took out his flashlight and moved forward, deeper into the labyrinthine rows of ancient books. Some titles were in languages he didn't recognize, while others were bound in strange materials, some that felt too warm to be leather. He came upon a reading table with a single open book. Its pages were blank, but as he approached, words began to appear in ink that bled across the paper like veins. The message read, "You are the first in decades. Tell us your story, so we may live again." Arthur recoiled. He tried to step away, but his feet refused to move. The floor beneath him had changed into something soft, spongy like flesh. The shelves around him began to breathe. They were expanding and contracting. Eyes blinked from the spines of certain books, watching him silently. A low, growling voice spoke from above. "You have entered the library of the damned. Each book here is assault-wrapped, screaming, begging to be remembered. And now you shall join them." Arthur shouted, "I came only to learn." The voice laughed, then read, "And be written." Suddenly, he was thrown across the room by an invisible force. When he opened his eyes, he was no longer in the same section. This part of the library was colder. The books here looked burnt, but untouched by any flame. A child's whisper echoed nearby. Arthur turned and saw a small girl sitting on the floor, reading aloud from a book far too big for her hands. "You shouldn't be here," she said without looking up. "Neither should you," Arthur replied, inching closer. "They wrote me in," she said. "A man like you. He brought a book here. It had a demon in it." The story spread, and now we're all part of the pages. The library grew. It needs more stories, more souls to keep it alive. Arthur's hands trembled. He tried to pull a book from a nearby shelf to read its title, but the moment he touched it, pain seared through his fingers. Blood ran down his wrist. The book laughed. "Each book bites," the girl said. "You feed them when you bleed." Arthur turned and ran. He sprinted down corridor after corridor, but the shelves rearranged themselves. No matter where he turned, he found himself back at the same table, the same blank book, still whispering, "Write your story. Give us your ending." He took a deep breath and tore a page from his own notebook. "Here's my story," he said defiantly. I came for knowledge. I found horror, but I won't give you my soul. The book laughed, and the page he had written crumbled into ash. Suddenly, arms emerged from beneath the floor, dozens of them, clawed and burned, reaching, pulling. He was dragged into the earth as books fell from shelves, slamming shut with violent thuds, as if cheering his descent. He awoke in darkness. No shelves, no books, just an endless void with faint whispers. He was lying on cold stone. Across from him, he saw hundreds, maybe thousands of others. Their eyes were hollow. Their mouths were sewn shut with inked thread. And then he realized he had become a book. Arthur's eyes blinked from the spine of a thick red volume on the far shelf. His title, The Scholar's Curse. Every now and then, the book would open on its own, bleeding fresh ink, telling his tale to whoever dared to enter next. Over the years, others came, a psychic searching for answers, a boy who believed in magic, a girl looking for her lost sister. Each entered, none escaped. Their stories joined the shelves. The library fed on them all. One day, a janitor cleaning the building next door found an old stone passage leading into the ground. Curiosity got the better of him. As he walked in, the torches along the walls lit themselves. He followed them, until he stood in front of a huge wooden door carved with 1,000 eyes. It opened slowly, inside. The janitor found the library immense and alive. Books hummed, pages fluttered, and a voice whispered, "Another story begins." He reached out to touch a nearby book. It opened instantly, showing him a story about a janitor, just like him, who entered a cursed place and never left. Blinked, confused, until the voice said, "Welcome, caretaker." The library was getting dusty, and with that, he became part of the place, cursed to roam the aisles forever. His broom turned into a spine-bound scepter, and every step he took was etched into the floor in runes. He could feel the weight of every story ever written there on his back. In his bones, the library of the damned had claimed another, and it was still hungry. Some say that if you listen carefully near the old hill in Eldergrove, where no birds sing and no flowers grow, you can hear pages turning. You might hear whispers calling your name, and if you follow those whispers, you might just find the library, and it might just find you. But remember this: if you open a book, you must finish it. If you enter the library of the damned,